These actually match my jacket. The headphones. The outage just pulled in. Yeah, this is screwing with me too much. The slight delay. I just sound so unnatural to my own self with it. When you're not the one talking, it probably sounds fine. How about now? Ah, there we go. Hey, what's up, Orist? I got a coffee and a sandwich. Feel much better. We've made some upgrades. Or gone back to the previous upgrades that we upgraded previously when we previously made upgrades. Something like that. Got a few things to chat about tonight, and I can't listen to myself. I can't. I'm just gonna do it naked. Raw dog. No headphones for myself, because there's just a tiniest delay when I'm on the headphones, and it like keeps messing with my cadence of my speech and makes me trip on words. So I'm gonna get out of here. I know it's Coffee Friday, but you know, trust me, today I drove all the way to Bellingham. Today, I'll give you a little background on my day. So 4:45 this morning, I wake up, which is like, it may as well have been 1 in the morning as far as my body was concerned. What the hell is going on? Why are we up so early? So 4:45, swing by, pick up Charles, pick up Orist. We head north to talk to some carbon manufacturers. Spoke to 2 different manufacturers up north. Good meetings all around, so that was good. I literally got here at 4:30, so 10 minutes ago, and whiskey was calling. Sounded real good, so I got some food in my belly. Didn't have any lunch today. We had burritos, little teeny tiny breakfast burritos at a spot in Bellingham at 8 in the morning after being up since 4:45. And that was my second bit of food for the day, was just like 10 minutes ago. And the remnants of a bit of an iced coffee. Delicious. So let's show you guys what we've been up to this week. So Charles has been busy tearing apart the 992 3RS Lab Rat. And she's got dots everywhere again. And we are busy doing some engine internal stuff. So not internal, but inside the engine bay stuff. It's probably more right. So happy Aloha Whiskey Friday. Absolutely, Mama Adams. Aloha Friday sounds real good right about now. Kind of need to get back to Hawaii soon. So we did some more scanning of the 992 3RS. Charles is going to start putting some of that together. We've got to, we're looking at intake stuff and a couple other different things in there. Try and find you guys some more horsepowers. Also looking at how the wings go in there, if we're going to have to change the wing uprights with what we want to do with the wing. Stuff like that. Lab rat stuff. So that's the deal with that. That's another good one to share. A little bit of both of them. We also have our 991.1 on the rack, so that's the state of the lab rack currently. And 991.1 is getting a full suspension makeover. So been speaking with customers. Some of them, most people know Dundon Motorsports for our exhausts, and that's fantastic, and I'm glad that they know about us. Yeah, working on it. The things that they don't know about us is we offer a full suspension upgrade program. Soup to nuts, we can do all of it. Rear of the car, front of the car, tension arms, rear dog bones, lower control arms, inner control arms, caster pucks, tie rods, sway bar end links, all the way to dampers. All of this stuff's important, especially on a car. This one's a 2015, so it's 9 years old. Needs probably a little going through. Surprisingly, we got the rear dog bones off and they were in decent shape. So likely this car spent a lot of highway miles, not a lot of track miles. I know it's been on track. It's got a hole in the bottom of it from where something went through it off the track from where the car was on the track and went off the track. We're going to document all of that, and hopefully this dovetails nicely with our good friend Mike Kojima. He's getting a pile of these wonderful things, wonderful suspension arms, for him to install on his 991.1 GT3 RS, and give us his honest feedback about how he likes them, what he doesn't. So that'll be good. And we're also going to be soon releasing our Whiskey Friday Academy interview with Mike Kojima. So Charles and I sit down with Mike, and that's being edited and ready for release maybe next week-ish, I think. Yeah, there we all are, talking about stuff. Mike's a great guy. He's fun to have around. He took me shooting for the first time when he was here last, which was great. We went out on Sunday when he was here, and that was the first time I actually shot my my 9mm. He also tried to zero in my 308. He didn't like shooting that very much. It's very, it is a short-ish barrel. What is it, Justin, 18?
No, I think you have pistols, so it's like 13.5.
No, I think it's an 18. I think it's a little longer than that.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a little longer than that, but yeah. So it is a, I'm not allowed to call it a short barrel rifle because that would require a stamp, and it does not have a stock. It has a brace, which is still very confusing to my neophyte gun owner self, but that's the words that I am told I must use, so I will use them. There you go. And I need to get myself into the local tactical gun shop here, and I have my tax stamp for my suppressor, and now I need to go get one. So I'll go get that done too. Just so many things to do. Let's see, what else has happened here in the last week? I bought myself a sim, driving simulator. I'll probably start assembling it a bit this weekend. One of the parts that I was looking for didn't come, even though they said they shipped it. So that's the virtual reality visor thingy. So that I can have a true immersive experience in my driving sim. When I turn my head, I can see the corners every which way. So, what else? We talked about our good friend Gabe. Sound more, yeah, about talking about guns, Larry? Yeah, I know. If you have them, you should at least know how to shoot them. And, you know, I have a concealed carry. I generally don't carry, but, you know, shit, it seems like the blue states you need to carry more than you need to carry in the red states anymore, because the law enforcement in the blue states don't seem to be giving a crap if they enforce the law. But I'm not going to talk about politics. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Let's share some awesomeness from Velocity Invitational. So there was an event this past weekend at Sonoma. And our good friend Gabe, who we've spoken about from his time at Laguna Seca, Gabe drives Jason Chin's 991.2 GT3 RS, and it has a whole gaggle of our parts on it. It's a full lab rat. It has our aero, it has our suspension, it has our power package, it has a crack pipe. Car goes great, 19-inch wheels, runs generally supercar 3Rs. Here he is. This is at Laguna. I can actually tell by the racetrack, even though I've never been there. I've driven it on a sim, though. It's kind of like real life, right? Not really. Let's see. Gabe got down to... I forget. It's 127? Am I making that up? We'll find out here in a second. We just got to finish watching the rest of it. It's not that much longer, like another 30 seconds or so. So, funny story about this lap is, I don't know. Let's see. Is this the, I think this is the 127.1, right? No, that's the Sonoma time. 137.1 is the Sonoma time. We'll find out. Anyway, for a lot of the practice sessions, Gabe had 3 new tires, 1 used tire. So he had the used tire on the front, on the kind of inside tire. And so the front would understeer only going one direction, and then would oversteer going the other direction. So he kind of had his hands full. Yeah, there we go, 129.6. That was his placing finish. He should have placed a bit higher, but there is an E46 M3 driven by the fine gentleman at Chicane Motorsports. I forget the driver's name, but he's fast. He likes to wait until the last session and the last lap to send it and beat Gabe by tenths. He did this at Coda, and he did it again at Laguna. And this car is really nice. It's a forced induction E46 M3. It has, I believe it's turbocharged. It has an intercooler, so I don't believe it's supercharged. It might be. Forgive me for not knowing more about the car. It has a Zebulon full time attack aero on it. It's gutted, full cage. It's full freaking race car. This is not a street car. It's not like Gabe's car. You can throw plates on it, drive it where you want to go, knock yourself out, take it through the Starbucks drive-through if you want, et cetera, et cetera. And yet Gabe is able to place in a naturally aspirated car with bolt-ons. I mean, this car hasn't been, I mean, they took the interior out, but that's still kind of considered bolt-ons. They didn't put anything in it. They just took shit out of it. But yeah, so this last weekend, he was at Sonoma at an invitation-only Global Time Attack event. Luckily, Charles knows some fellas at Global Time Attack and was able to make a call and get Gabe invited. So it was a kind of a last-minute thing for Gabe and team to pack up and come to Sonoma. Gabe had not driven Sonoma since he had driven it years ago. And there's Gabe now. Beautiful 991.2 with Dundon livery down the side. He had not driven it since the last time he was out there in his M3. So it's been a minute. At least a couple years. He's driven it on the sim, hadn't driven it under new pavement. It's been a while. Sonoma's kind of a big, scary track. A lot of really high-speed corners. And it seems that there's very few straights. It's all corners, all big, long, sweeping, high-speed corners, which is kind of crazy. So what's cool, and one of the reasons that I wanted to bring this up is, and preface this by every part on the car that made the car fast, in addition to the driver, was from us. So that means that when the car isn't doing something that Gabe would like it to do, we have a great understanding of how to make the car do what he wants. So kind of came to my mind as Gabe and I are chatting after his first session. See, I can't say my sessions anymore, and this is coffee. Y'all give me a hard time about having whiskey and not being able to pronounce shit. And I haven't had fuck all for like 2 weeks. So it is not, I just can't talk. That's the issue. My lips get in the way of my teeth, and his session. There we go. Called me after his 8 a.m. session, and for Velocity Invitational, they kind of had a global time attack in the morning and then at the end of the day. So the morning sessions for a naturally aspirated car were key because it was hot out there as well. It was like in the 90s by the time 5 o'clock rolled around. It was in the 60s in the morning. So those were the times you wanted to actually make a go for it. So he called me. He's like, holy shit, Jamie, car's all over the place. When I trail brake it in, ass end wants to come around. When I'm trying to get on the throttle, ass end wants to come around. I can't put the power down. I was like, okay, well, those are kind of the same symptom. That's good. Let's figure out what else is going on. Like, I already know what we need to do for that. And we were able to, I gave him take compression down in the rear, take rebound up in the rear. Let's give it a little bit more front support when you're coming into the braking zone. Give it a couple more clicks. Take it out in the afternoon. Give me a call when you're done. We were doing this all over Instagram, and he doesn't. Modern kids nowadays, they don't use the emails and the clickety clackities or pick up the phone and talk to you. They want to instant message you over the Instagrams and send you a video and a voice recording and hit whatever. I'll adapt. Just give me the information I need. I'll tell you what you need to change. He went out that afternoon. He's like, holy shit, it's a different car. It's amazing. I'm going to be able to push so hard and do so well. And I will ask all of you, I hope you have somebody in Germany's phone number such that when you buy the Manti kit from your local dealership and you go to a different racetrack and the car ain't doing what you think it will, that you can call some homie over in Germany and get the same thing that we did for our guys. Because I could tell you they're probably not going to pick up the phone if you can even find a phone number. And whoever installed it at the dealership for you doesn't know shit about how to tune it to make it work. It wasn't that the car was wrong. It's that the track conditions were different. The track was different, and Gabe needed a little help. Gabe, I've been coaching him through it. I was like, here's what the dials do. Here's what you need to change when you feel this in this part of a corner, or this or that when the car's leaving the corner. These are some things to try and change to affect that, right? It's weight balance on the front to the rear, how it's changing, how fast it's changing, how much you try and hold it in certain areas. So until the car is back to, quote, steady state, it's never really at steady state, right? If you're accelerating, the weight's going to be shifted a little bit more rearward, et cetera, et cetera. So this is his quick lap at Sonoma. Gorgeous weather. It just seems normal, Jack. It's what I would want somebody to do for me. Now, if you didn't buy parts from me, you're not going to get this kind of support. So don't think that just because I can means I will. The support comes with some American green dollars, if you understand my meaning. Or Indian rupees, or, Russian rubles, or, whatever. We don't take Bitcoin yet, but maybe we should. Give me some free call options on Nvidia right now. I take that shit. I just learned that one of our recent hires, who is a Boeing employee, is a maven of stock option awesomeness. So we're going to be picking his brain next week a bit more about that. I guess he was able to pay for his house on some early investments in Bitcoin and having a Bitcoin mining computer with the electricity paid for by somebody's fish farm, which is curious. like, well, shit, that's the place to do it. And the government's paying for electricity. Plug you in some Bitcoin miners. He missed out on a big pop on one of the coins they were mining. When he cashed in, I'll come back to that 137.17 before we finish talking about Ryan. He was just telling me downstairs, yeah, I cashed in. Me and my buddy split 40 grand, which was really awesome. And then I forget what the coin name was, XRD or something like that. About 2 weeks later, the founder of McAfee mentioned the coin, and it went from being like 0.0001 of a dollar to 22 cents. So had he not cashed out, he'd have had $13 million. And I'm like, and then I would have never met you. So I'm glad that that didn't happen. Or maybe I would have. We'd have been working on your Porsche. So the reason that this 137.17 is important is, I believe, and I haven't confirmed this, that SP Motorsports and Jaden Conwright have the current production car lap record at Sonoma, which is a 136.9. That was in a 992 GT3 RS running Pirelli DH slicks on 19-inch wheels and a nice brake setup that they had done with Alcon brakes with somebody Pro Brake Systems, I think the name of the company is. I hadn't heard of them before. I don't know everybody, so, you know, doesn't mean they're not badass. It just means I hadn't heard of them. The kit looks great. I mean, it looks beautiful. I don't know how it performs. We'll probably end up putting PFCs on ours at some point and putting 19s on our 992 and yada, yada, yada. But the thing that I want to drive home here is Gabe's on A7s, and he's within 0.2 or so. We'll call it 2.5 tenths, which is like a quarter second of that record. Now, what's kind of shitty is earlier that session. So let me back up. There were kind of 3 cars that he was competing with for the outright win. One was a Subaru, built by Subaru, right? We got our Subi boys over here. All's good in the hood. The world's flat. And car was awesome. It was driven by a professional Scott Speed. I think he went 133s on Michelin Blues, so he's running an unlimited. You're allowed to do that. Car was making 600 and some odd horsepower, turbocharged. Looked awesome. Had all this wicked aero on it, as much as you can put aero on a box. Kind of a box.
Still had ringlands by the time it was done? 600 horsepower?
I don't know, brother. Subaru built it. They can build. I mean, their rally cars always seem to make plenty of horsepower. So I don't ask these questions. I don't know. Yeah. They're really tiny. They're disposable. Aren't they only like $400 or $500 anyway? Yeah. I'm kidding.
No, you get the whole car.
You get the whole car for $400 or $500. So anyway, there was that one. Then there was a Mercedes. Do we have a picture of this lap?
I think so.
Yeah, let's get the lap where he catches up to the AMG. Because that one's pretty legit. So this is Gabe getting interviewed, which was really cool. He got to meet Tony Kanaan, who's Brazilian, one of Gabe's heroes. Gabe is not Brazilian. I was mistaken about that. Gabe is Mexican, and he married a Brazilian gal that he met here in the States, and she moved back home. So just to clarify previous Whiskey Friday foibles, if you will. So Gabe had a 135 going, and he actually caught up to the AMG GTR GT3 spec race car running on Michelin Blue slicks, driven by a pro whose name I don't remember. Doesn't matter. And he had to bail on the lap. He had to kind of back off and just kind of stay behind the AMG, who for whatever reason wasn't doing his standard 135, 136 pace laps. He was on a cooldown or whatever, but he didn't get offline, which is kind of typical GTA rules. If you're not sending one, get offline and let the guys go around you. He was more, I'm a race car driver, pass me kind of rules, wheel to wheel rules, not time attack rules. So it's kind of shitty because that means really Gabe should hold the current lap record at Sonoma of a 135 something or other. And I get it. Shit happens on track. You hit traffic, blah, blah, blah. It's not so easy to just make those statements. But when you're up the ass of a fucking race car in a street car, you're doing something right. Because, you know, it didn't look like he was on a cooldown lap. It looked like he was still trying to send it. So we'll see if we can't find that. We are putting a piece together for YouTube about Gabe and about his recent events. Not so much about Gabe, but more about the car and the support and some of the things that we did to help kind of get him there. Do you have to go find it, Justin? Right on. There he is. Look, there's a race car. And this is after Gabe gave him like a quarter of the track head start. So he like reeled him in on 2 laps. Yeah, that he's not on a cooldown lap. It looks like he's out of front tire though. Car's all kinds of squirrely. Maybe he's out of rear tire. Yeah, so that when I saw this over the weekend, I was like, "Oh man, that makes me smile." But we gotta have people understand this a bit better because they're not going to get it otherwise. They're going to think this is just a normal track day or whatnot, and no, not so much. Oh, and our car sounded way better than that Mercedes. I'll just say that, but you guys know that already.
At least if I can get the audio.
All right.
So as you see, you know, Scott Speed went out position 1 because throughout the weekend so far, he's been the quickest car of the group. I think the second quickest car is James in the AMG. So he's the second one out, and we space him with enough of a gap, and we try to explain to the number 1 driver going out, to Scott, maintain that gap, have a decent warm-up lap speed, not too fast so we can get all the cars out on track. And again, like we talked about, people could feel out their gaps and themselves the best opportunity to have a clean hot lap without any traffic. Now in this situation here, the truck is running, you know, 150. He's trying to break into the, you know, sub 150s. Scott's going 130.4 yesterday, so he is going to catch him. If he has to do 2 hot laps, he will catch him. So he'll have to contend with that.
Yeah, what are the rules on how many laps you can do?
You could do as many as you want within the timed session. So I believe that this session's 20 minutes. So if the cars can handle it, they could do it over and over again. But you just rarely see that because, again, a true time attack car is built to the max. You know, like you're trying to go faster than you possibly ever could go. The rules are very relaxed.
The other thing to clarify is since Gabe was on A7s, he didn't need to warm up his tires. Very likely the race car on Michelin Blues did need to warm up his tires. And so Gabe need to send his lap on like the first or second lap out. He couldn't, otherwise he's outside the window of those tires. So likely it wasn't that Gabe was all up his ass and he's as fast as dude had cold tires is all it was. Good night, Philip. But it makes for a good story. See, isn't it fun when you spin things how you want them to be? All right, what else we got? Ah, yes. We have the birth of a wonderful new cup car. Don't get excited, everybody. We're not breaking any laws here. These are race headers and a crack pipe, and they are very nice and pretty blue, thanks to our friends at 311 RS. This car got built. This is a 992 cup. It's going to be used in PCA club racing. And holy shit, Club and Baby Seals with a 992 cup in PCA club racing. Get it. Get it, friends. Get it. Car sounds wicked. Do we have the revs?
Don't.
All right. We'll get the revs up for you guys at some point, but those were shared on our Instagram page if you guys want to go hear it. Car sounds bonkers. I mean, it revs so fast with that tiny little flywheel and a sequential trans. It's like, wagga, 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 wagga. Just like that, in case you can quote me on that. It's going to be somebody's ringtone here shortly, I'm sure. So pretty. This brings up something interesting. So we had a discussion earlier about Charles was saying, hey, we should talk about pie cut titanium exhausts and what really you're buying from some of these boutique exhaust manufacturers here when you see all these little pie cuts and all the different colors that they make them and all that bit. So let me talk a little bit about, let's talk about some science here for a second. Just a little science, just a tiny bit, a little bit of science. Not a lot of science, a little bit of science. So when a metal gets hot, it will form it will bond with oxygen from the air, and it will create a metal oxide. In titanium's case, it makes titanium dioxide on the surface of the metal. I think it's titanium dioxide. I don't think it's TiO. I think it's titanium dioxide. Anyway, I'll have to look up some of that science. Obviously, I don't know all of it. That oxide film refracts light like when you see oil on a puddle. See oil on the puddle, you see all the rainbow. Isn't it there's somebody painted the puddle with watercolors? It's that the light is refracting like how when you see a rainbow, it breaks into Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, blue, violet. Biv, blue, indigo, violet. Yeah, there we go. A little dyslexia in my head. It's like my shoes. The letters go in inverse. I'm not dyslexic, but as I get older, they kind of get jumbled around in there because there's too many of them happen at the same time. So the oxidation on the metal is what makes it turn colors. You can also anodize it, which is an electrochemical process where you put it in a bath and you form that oxide from water and electricity to free up oxygen and hydrogen and a couple other things, but it will also oxidize the metal. Here's the issue. Oxidized metal doesn't weld. It's now a contaminated weld. So if it started with a color and then it was welded, it's gonna fall apart. Done. The more welds you have in a piece with metal that easily oxidizes, the more likely one of those welds will be contaminated and will fall apart. Don't buy pie cuts. Be smarter than that, my peoples. You're smart enough to buy a $300,000 awesome piece of machinery from Porsche and to save up your money and buy a quality car. You didn't buy a Yugo. You bought a Porsche. So don't buy the cheapest thing from freaking Alibaba or whoever's representing that it's their boutique thing that they got from Alibaba and now are charging you $10,000 for it. Buy quality parts for quality cars. It's kind of what we're here for. Happy to help you. Our Inconel parts come completely silver. They're not any colors. Our titanium mufflers come completely silver. There is no part of it that should be a color. We actually work hard to make sure that that's the case. We recently, and we will own this, had a few mufflers that came through that were not completely silver on the inside. We weren't inspecting it. We had an issue with argon coverage in this particular area. We have hence fixed it, found it, took care of the customer that had the issue, and we're making improvements because of it. But the point is, if it was already a color, then you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Don't buy garbage. Don't buy garbage. This is a service announcement from Dundon Motorsports, and you're welcome. Buy our shit. Don't buy other janky shit. Okay. So the pretty picture of the 992 being all colorful showed me, hey, heat, put that up there. That's more science. Heat affected zone. Got my learned welding folks helping me out. The heat affected zone, maximum temperature, solid weld metal.
So what happens when you have a pie cut and you have these multiplied next to each other?
Right. Coatings like jet hot, etc., shouldn't affect a completed part because it's already been welded. The things that jet hot and some of the other ceramic coatings can cause problems with is residual stress, because they'll often sandblast the part to make the ceramic coating stick better, give it a mechanical tooth so it has something to bond to. And what we've seen is if they're not very careful about where they sandblast, you can create leaks in things like slip fit collectors. You can create residual stress or strain from sandblasting it. Yeah, exactly. The homework will be handwritten and max one page. Even though we take great care to weld our parts such that they fit our jigs, they will have some amount of stress in them. We kind of rely on what we'll call in situ annealing. Put it on the car because it fits on the car, then anneal it, i.e. drive the car, get it real hot, and that will remove a lot of the residual stress. The issue comes when somebody takes our part when it's new, takes it to get it sandblasted. Sandblasting is going to relieve some stress in an uneven way, and then things may not fit or seal as well as they should. So we're not fans of ceramic coatings unless they're done correctly and they're done by somebody that understands all of what I just said. So if they understand all of that, then they're likely going to do it right, and it won't be as big a deal. Jet hot can help lower engine bay temperatures. I will tell you, 718 GT4 RS, 718 GT4, and others, we have not seen a dramatic difference with heat shielding, wrapping it in Inconel, ceramic coating it, or just driving the car and having adequate air flow over it. Will it help? Sure. Hotter exhaust helps to extract more because it's less dense, et cetera, et cetera. That's good. Some of the areas where I see some fails is they'll heat wrap the catalysts. Fail. You want the catalysts to be able to cool off when they get too hot. You don't want to keep heat inside of them. Ceramic coating the catalyst, also big no-no. Don't do that for the same reasons. Et cetera, et cetera. So good question, Bill. What else? He's gonna cue. Oh, yes. Our friend Miami Miles, who didn't tag us in his YouTube video, but did have nice things to say about us, which was cool. He finally put the rest of the package on his 997.2 GT3 RS. He put a set of our headers and I believe a mini crack pipe. Yes, must have been a mini crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're watching his commercial, which he gets paid for. That's the reason he does YouTube. And we also have some commercials on ours, which is cool. I think last month we made a grand sum of $75. So, woohoo! Thank you all for tuning in and being a part of it. Oh, it is just a regular muffler. Wow. It sounds really good for, I thought it was a mini crack. Well, Fark, that's cool. So he's got a loud muffler and street headers. I thought he had mini crack and loud muffler. I don't pay attention all the time with what our guys are doing out there in the world. So, I'm in the end, I'm super glad that he loved it. He had some really nice things to say in the video. They tested it later on in the video, you know, just kind of driving it around, him and his buddy. They thought it sounded way better. So yeah, if you got a 997.2, you want the car to go fast, you want it to sound great, you know who to call. Just give us a call. Even Miami Miles thinks so. So there you go. And he didn't test it on a dyno in 120 degrees on 91 octane. So that was nice. Didn't have to go through that. Any of you guys driven Road Atlanta? I know some of you guys watching have. There's a new king in town. Rexy just laid down a 117.88 at Road Atlanta. That's only 10 seconds faster than Ted went in our 992 GT3 RS. And it's not like Ted's a fucking slouch. Holy shit, that's fast. So, congrats to the team, to AO Racing, and to Lauren Heinrich. Fantastic, fellas. That's great. That's great. Kudos. Especially to do it in quali. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm sure Justin's trying to find us another clip of the car going around. GTD Pro, hopefully they do well in Petit Le Mans. Can be a little bit of a bloodbath. That's a kind of a tiny track for that much racing. But holy hell, 117. Fast. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Does anybody have any questions for us this fine Friday evening? 5:30, middle of October. Before I forget, it's like got here and I'm a little brain dead. If you are in the Southeast, we're praying for you. We hope that things clear up, that you get your shit back right, your house back right, your lives back right. Because, dude, 2 giant hurricanes in 2 weeks. I hope they all chill out for a minute, because that's a bit enough. It's just enough. We had some friends and some dealers and some customers in Central Florida. I'm glad that they're all safe. I'm glad that the hurricane was not as bad as forecasted when it ramped back up to a Category 5. I was like, well, all of Tampa's gone. That's shitty. It was like the thing that took the worst of it was the baseball stadium. Roof got ripped off. So, candy canes. Jack Curtis and I are just coming into, we're just spouting random words. He said valves. I'm going to say candy canes. Hey, Brian, welcome, brother. Yeah, Brian's another one. He just got his 997.1 D4 kit finished up, and he sent us some logs, and he did a dyno, which was great. Unfortunately, we didn't have a stock dyno to go along with it, but that's okay. His car was so powerful, it was doing dyno runs of 1.5 seconds from 3,000 RPMs to redline. They're a little hard to interpret when they go by that fast. So beyond that, car looked great. Logs look great. Car's happy. Brian says the car feels good. 2 thumbs up. Now we modernized that old gal. So Oh, you're replying to Eric. I didn't see a question. Oh, what's the difference between a mini crack and a crack? Oh, I completely missed that, and it's literally the comment above valves. Holy shit. It's been a long day, y'all. Eric, yeah, so a full crack pipe has no valves and is longer. The megaphones are longer and ramp up more gradually. Mini crack enables us to put valves on the car. And depending on how the packaging goes, like on a 997, we don't really have a lot of room for headers, cats, valves, and a full crack pipe. They just don't fit. Cup cars give us a little bit more room for shit. 992 GT3 RS, we don't have room for a full crack pipe. We do and we don't. We do if we want to sell the exhaust or we don't if we want to sell the exhaust in the United States, in America, and keep the powers that be a little less unhappy with us. Anywhere else in the world, maybe, but when you start removing catalysts and doing things to the new cars, they get bitchy. So just generally keep the cats on the car, put a mini crack on it, love on it. They love it. We got a question from Stottle263. Mini is better for a street car, but it's still just as loud, honestly. So a muffler is better for a street car. I'll say that. But crack pipe, mini crack pipe, if you're of that ilk and want that raging RSR sound all the time, you're good to go. Lightweight flywheels on cars that came factory with dual mass flywheels. Are Bluetooth crankshafts a concern? I think I know where you're headed, but I need a little bit of clarification. If you can fix what the automatic iPhone correct was there to what a Bluetooth crankshaft actually is. I think you mean lightened crankshaft.
I think he means, is it going to cause his crankshaft to break?
Yes.
Becoming a Bluetooth crankshaft, meaning not one piece.
Oh, that's lost on me.
Yeah.
That's a thing? That's slang for something?
People call things Bluetooth if it doesn't connect where it's supposed to connect.
Got it. Okay, things that are not connected. Wow, I'm showing my age right now. Gen X fail. That's bad. Not a boomer. Get it right. Gen X, thank you. Okay, we can still miss shit. I still recorded on cassette tapes. Most of y'all never fucking seen one, so it's fine. Harmonics related question. The answer is yes. Yes, it's typically not going to show up in a broken crankshaft first. There's going to be other weak links that it happens to before it breaks a crankshaft, depending on the engine, right? So if we're talking about flat sixes, Metzgers, Porsche, just kind of what we're talking about. If you have a K24 and you put a lightweight flywheel on it, you're on your own. I don't do Honda shit. Got a bunch of boys here in the building that do. I can ask. I would bet it's the same, but anyway, the gear that goes to the oil pump. Get with the lingo. The future is now. Thank you, Jack. What are you, 12? Oh, right. You're 15. Sorry. I got it wrong. Give me a break. Oil pumps can fail because of the harmonic. So essentially the crankshaft's going like this as it's going around, right? Because you've got the front of the crankshaft. Okay, let me back up. For those of you that didn't watch any of our engine basics or any of the Whiskey Friday Academy engine series, go back and watch it. It's good shit. We go through harmonics a bit and what's going on. So you can think of your crankshaft like a bell and each one of the pistons like a hammer. Bong, 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 bong as it's going through. So a bell rings, right? It doesn't just go one direction smoothly and come back the other way. It also does that, but it's ringing as it's moving. Once you hit it, bong, it moves and it's ringing. Crankshaft does the same thing. It moves and it's ringing. The ringing is the harmonics. So in essence, as it's going around, if you slowed it way down, it's going like this. You know what I mean? It's kind of jostling back and forth. That jostling back and forth is going to cause the things that are connected to the crankshaft via chains, mainly chain-driven stuff, sees this. Belts can kind of take up some of the vibration a little bit. You might chew through belts a little faster, but belts are they have some natural dampening of that back and forth where a chain kind of doesn't as much. Oil pumps in a Metzger are connected via a chain, and then the oil pump starts to go like this. You can actually shear the oil pump sprocket off from the shafts inside, the actual gears that do the pumping of the oil. Forgetting the actual right name, but you know what I'm talking about. You can have issues with, this is where on the 997.2 especially, the camshaft bolts will start to back out. They don't back out because of a lack of Loctite or that somebody didn't torque them enough. They're aluminum bolts to start with, so they don't take a lot of torque as it is. And some of the solutions are use a bigger bolt, put a wire, safety wire around it, et cetera, et cetera. Those solutions are okay, but they're not really addressing the source of the problem, and that's the harmonic, right? The way to address the harmonic is to give the crankshaft some dampening. So that's why we sell a harmonic dampener for the crankshaft. It's why on cars that didn't come with single mass flywheels, you will see a giant issue with them. 997.2 GT3s with lightweight flywheels will be especially susceptible to this, with the exhaust cam bolts wanting to back out because of harmonics. So at its worst, you can have an excessive amount of harmonics and you can end up breaking crankshafts. That typically happens if the crank is not adequately strong. Like guys that knife edge crankshafts in a modern world are, in my opinion, don't get it because they're removing the counterweight that helps give the crankshaft some ability to have enough mass to not oscillate so much. Balancing and harmonics are two completely different things. So balancing the rotating assembly with a lightweight flywheel is a good idea, yes, but it won't change the harmonics at all. So don't think of the products we sell as balancers. They are harmonic dampers. I always screw this up. Damper, dampener. I forget. I think it's damper, not dampener. Dampener is a shock, not a damper. English is hard sometimes. I'll just say that. English is hard. It gives me fits because I feel like I'm lying to you guys sometimes, even though I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Kind of, mostly. So the lightweight flywheel should probably already be balanced. I would hope that it's not grossly out of balance, but if you're building an engine and you have the lightweight flywheel, balancing all of it together isn't a bad idea. Won't fix your harmonics, so just saying. Anybody else got anything? And like Ora said, keep your balance shafts, Honda boys. Those inline fours are especially dangerous with harmonics. Did we find Rexy doing her thing?
It's only a highlight.
No, that's all right. He's going to share. We're not going to be monetized if you share that.
Oh, you're right.
We cannot share copyrighted material, especially things from NBC Sports. Other YouTube videos from obscure people that might not notice, sure, send it. But yeah, NBC Sports probably would get notified that we said that. So
And it's Michelin Raceway.
yeah, it's also at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. What the hell ever I'm supposed to say with that? You got to put the Michelin in there because you get in trouble otherwise. So there you go. Get your ass smacked. Anybody else got a good question? Stoddle 263. That was a good question. That like took a whole bit to kind of get through. Got me using my hands doing shit. It's like I'm Italian over here.
It is a beautiful car.
Yeah, the livery's great. I love that they gave it the teeth. That was brilliant. Whoever did their wrap, very nice.
We told you how we followed the trailer down to Cali.
Yeah. It was this time last year that the Dundon crew was at Rensport Reunion. I got notified of that. Was I think Thursday was when we drove all day to get down there, to be down there by Friday. That was a good fun evening. We went through 2 bottles of whiskey and didn't even realize it between 4 of us. We're like, shit, it's 3 a.m. We should probably go to bed. This is after driving all fucking day. Like, we should probably go to bed. This is not good. This is not the way this should start. Tomorrow's gonna suck. That was pretty fun. It was a good time. And I saw that Alex shared the on TikTok, no less, of the Porsche shindiggity that we got invited to, that I just felt really odd being there, because, you know, AP was there and Frank Walliser was there and a bunch of these highfalutin so-and-sos were there. Yes, 2 bottles while driving down there. Don't tell the highway patrol. Just some shit though, right? I can obviously handle my liquor. No, once we got there, we stayed. I rented this house because we had a bunch of our Smokies friends come in, so we all kind of chipped in. Bong he came down. So the house had a pool, and it's right there in next to Laguna. Was Salinas? I think it's Salinas, right? Yeah. So it was dope. The house was great. Time down there was great. Should probably, of course, what I rented the house for when I rented it, which was about a year before Rensport, and what it needed to be rented for a week before we got there, were vastly different. So I may look at that as a last minute rental if we're ever down there at Laguna again, because that place got cheap and it's pretty badass. It was pretty badass. That was fun. Bobby was there. Hi, Bobby, if you're watching. Anywho, hopefully there's some roads at Smokies. I think there's a few, but not near as many. All the ones that we liked all went over bridges at some point, so not a lot of bridges left. So anything else, y'all? All right, well then it is Burger Friday. I'm gonna go pick up some dinner, go home and see my wife, who I left sleeping at 4:45 this morning. And yes, I will whine about that for at least a couple more days, because that's really fucking early for me. Just saying. That's not a time that I see unless I'm going to a racetrack or to previously a golf course. Certainly not for work. Did we cover everything, Ross? Justin? Yep. All right, y'all. We're peace out. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Go fast with Dundon Parts. Don't buy pie cuts and be an asshole. And if you're driving a race car, go faster. Go faster. It is supposed to be done. Oh, with all the damage, you're right, Larry. Dun, dun, dun. I'll call Sean and find out. The new private track that's over there that we're starting Smokies with. They might have been delayed, so winter isn't as bad in Tennessee as it is around these parts. They'll keep building shit if they can get shit to build with. Dun dun dun. Anyway, I'll let you guys get on with your Friday night. Good night.